Hello friends! In this video we will talk about the most important events in February. Astrological events, of course. In February things heat up and world gains momentum. The same applies to the lives of individuals. We will see how and why during this video. Chinese New Year was relatively early this year and is considered to mark the beginning of spring. So spring may start earlier this year, even though in our Western astrology we think about the beginning of spring through the sun entering in the sign of Aries, which is 21st of March. Full moon is in February on the 5th day of February. It will be in Leo, and new moon is on the 20th of February and will happen in Pisces. Let's mention the most important transits. Sun is until the 18th in Aquarius, then in Pisces. Mercury is until the 11th in Capricorn, then in Aquarius. Venus in Pisces until the 20th and then in Aries. Mars is whole month in Gemini. Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus, Neptune in Pisces, Pluto in Capricorn. So as you see, I'm not mentioning here any retrograde planet. That's because in February all the planets are direct. But we are, even if they're direct and it seems very active, everything can happen now. We are still sailing on a wave of energies that we already know. And that's only this month because already March significantly changed the situation. Since March, the big players Saturn and Pluto will be moving into other astrological signs, creating a completely new pattern that will gradually take shape during the years 2023 and 2024. That's why February is the beginning and the end. Notice that I'm saying beginning first and then I'm saying the end. Namely, February has the energy of spring. After all, Jupiter is in Aries in its full force, which is fantastic transit. But it is also this month preparation for the end of something, because as soon as Saturn enters the sign of Pisces in March, there will be a strong sense of the end of something, and it will be increasingly clear that it is time to pay off debts, which are some debts from the past, and which can be said like karmic debts, if we want to speak in the terms of Indian philosophy. In some way, we can say that everything already happened, everything already being said, and the new life is already starting for some. Because they understood what they should have understood, they left the old patterns of behavior, and now as new they live on, like new people, let's say. It's like when artist creates and struggles for a long time to give a proper expression to his vision, and then suddenly the inspiration turns into a work, which then he ends. He does not create, but he finishes, because he had already previously created that in the spirit. I guess you know what I'm suggesting here. On the other hand, some people are just starting to pay off their debts, if you want, let's say karmic. And for them, it is the last month in which they are still riding on old energies. Maybe they are even grabbing what else they can take, because the payment of debts is coming soon, and they maybe even know it somehow. We can even say that the end of illusions is coming. Of course, many are not even aware of that it is time to pay something. Let's remind ourselves that America is said to have $18 trillion in debt. I'm not sure if this number is correct, that's what I heard. But still they pretend that everything is fine. Just look at the behavior of politicians and those responsible for war issues. They are all rushing to the east with their full force, completely irrationally, as if it is the 18th century, which is not. That time has passed. Before the full moon in Leo, we have two important aspects. On the 3rd of February, Sun makes square to Uranus, and on the 5th of February, Venus has a square with Mars. This means that we can expect the unexpected, sudden reversals, sudden breaks in relationships, and great need for independence. Who and how wants and need to be independent? Is that good or bad? I'm not going to comment on that. It can be both. By the way, we know from history that February is the month of revolution because the Sun is in Aquarius. But on the February the 3rd, it will have the square to Uranus. So if someone wants to cause revolution and upheaval suddenly and unexpectedly, really the beginning of February can be ideal for that. Then it is a full moon in Leo, and it always signifies some sort of triumph, the peak of one's rule, possibly symbolizes a moment of someone's success or that somebody reached something important. Since the Sun and the Moon are in opposition during this full moon, and Venus and Mars are in square, it can also mean the end of love relationship, the end of partnership, as well the end of diplomatic negotiations. Every full moon in Leo has something theatrical, something dramatic in it. So it is quite possible that we will attend some big show on the mundane level that is about some presidential functions, some royal families or things like that. But many things that are really happening we don't know. So I'm not sure what we will really learn about. Maybe even nothing, But astrologically, we can speak about such events. Otherwise, the full moon will be specially felt by people who have planets around the 16th degree of Leo and Aquarius. Challenges also await those who have planets in Taurus and Scorpio. Also planets around this mentioned 16th degree. Some sort of upheavals, but maybe under happier circumstances, can be expected by those who have planets in Libra and Gemini, especially if they also have planets around the mentioned degree. In the middle of the month, significant conjunctions will occur. Those conjunctions will have Mercury, Venus, and the Sun with Pluto, Neptune, and Saturn. Each encounter of personal planet with major big planets marks the beginning of a new cycle. The conjunction of the Sun and Saturn on February 16th at the 27th degree of Aquarius is particularly significant. This is their last conjunction in Aquarius, and the next one will not happen until 30 years. So only in 30 years the Sun will make conjunction with the Sun in Aquarius, because now Saturn leaves the sign of Aquarius. So this conjunction speaks of the maturity and the experience gained during Saturn's transit through the sign of Aquarius. Now is an opportunity for each of us to see what we have learned with Saturn in Aquarius. As a collective, we learned what freedom is, and we learned that through limitations that were quite horrible in previous 2.5 years. We learned that man is both the part of collective and also is an individual. And we also learned that collective and individual needs do not always have to be the same. And we need to respect that. We further learned that we need to network and connect because old pyramidal structures are collapsing, which is only good for us as ordinary people. Just we need to learn how to organize ourselves. Many are trying that, many are successful, many not, Now when Pluto enters Aquarius, we will be in the position to learn more about that self-organization. The time is coming for that. Now we should not hurry even too much. During 2.5 years, Saturn in Aquarius brought maturation and more responsible attitude towards life for each us, at least in one era of our lives. And now I will shortly, in only a few words, mention what it is about for each zodiac sign. Aquarians found a new identity, if it's possible to say so. They learned something new about themselves, which is really crucial. Pisces realized that the old obligations and old jobs are over. They can't do them anymore. Aries became more responsible towards the collective, and maybe at the end, collective gives them some prize for that. Taurus reached a peak in life, career, or status. This is the top point now in their lives. Gemini changed their philosophy of life. If they were more pessimistic at the beginning of this transit, now they changed that. Crabs or Cancer have gone through psychological transformations, often because of money issues which they have with their partner, business partner, or married partner. Leos have matured in partnership relationships. Virgos change their work and attitude towards health, maybe start healing people. Libra mature through children and their creativity. Scorpios change their home and family relationships. Sagittarius develop more serious thought. We can say thought, but also maybe way how they speak. Capricorns begin to save and value their time. Shortly saying, I said. I can't speak in more details, but I hope this was also useful to remind you what was that about. Let me mention that on February 17, Mercury makes a sextile with Jupiter, which symbolizes good news, and it's very good time to write, to sign some contract, to do some business and things like that. Then the new moon will be on February 20th in Pisces. This marks the beginning of a new 6-month cycle for Pisces. When the new moon occurs in our sign, we create a new pattern that will be valid for at least half of a year, often even longer. That's why many people have different rituals on that day, when there is a new moon in their sign, as on their birthdays also. With some rituals that people create consciously, they actually they cooperate with the universe. The universe gives them opportunity and they answer, yes, we create something. And these ritual actions was a common behavior in ancient cultures, but today are forgotten by many, even laughed at by many, even in some way may be forbidden. But those who forbid them, those crazy people who want to rule the world, they are obsessed with rituals, which are of course often totally negative and horror ones. And let's hope that we will in the future learn what is the meaning of such rituals, and that maybe we will be able to create some positive ones. Although a new cycle begins for all of us in the era of life symbolized by Pisces in our horoscope, this new moon is still leading us to the end that we mentioned in this video at the beginning. And some feeling of end will continue until 2025. Namely, this new moon announces the entry of Saturn into the sign of Pisces, which we said will happen only in March. But during the new moon itself, Saturn is in conjunction with the Sun and the Moon. And thus, the symbolism is now complete. We are preparing for something new. And that's the end. If I need to advise something, I know that I should not give many advices, but let me say something. It is a time to get rid of old, surviving beliefs and ways of living and thinking. The sooner we get rid of them, the easier will be later. Saturn is a symbol of the shadow in Jungian psychology, the unappreciated, or hidden side of our personality that we project on others. It's always others' fault, not us, right? So as you see, that pattern appears and follows us for the next 6 months. And it works also on the individual and collective level, as Russia is Piscean in the horoscope. It is quite possible that now, even more than before, Russia will be blamed for everything. But let's see. Hopefully not. You will remember that we talked about Mars in Gemini many times since August 2022. It had very, very long transit in Gemini. It symbolizes that fight that is with new technology that we really not know much about. That Mars is direct since January, in February is also direct, and now it's easier to be active than before. But unfortunately, it is the planet of war, struggle, and also strong will, so maybe fights will be now even stronger. Of course, when Mars is active, everybody is more active, so crazy people who wants to rule the world are also very crazy and active. And they met in mid-January in Davos, as you most probably know. And always when they meet, after that some new propaganda starts. I remind you what they were planning to do. So they wanted to have new lockdowns on people, and now due to climate change, and they practiced this in Britain in summer 2022 and in December in America, when they were recommended to people not to go out because of the weather. They were also planning to imprison people and to allow them to move on the distance, maybe 500-600 meters around their house. I'm not sure about this distance. I don't know exactly. They also planned to take everything for people, even their cars. And they said to make people happy by doing that. If you don't know what they are really up to, get informed. It's really high time for that. It is very important for all of us to know the level of insanity that is reached by the decadent clowns of the old world. What is our luck is that this is actually their end coming, and they're not so well organized, or they're so decadent that they're falling apart by the time. And of course, because they themselves are falling apart, they cannot be influential as before. But it's very good to know what they were planning. Around the new moon, Venus makes sextile with Pluto, thereby announcing happy circumstances regarding money, especially for people with planets in the last degrees of Pisces and Capricorn. At the end of the month, Mercury with Mars and Uranus brings very, very dynamic communication, but also great nervousnesses and possible interferences in satellite communication. So this satellite communication can be problematic. And you maybe know that some want to fly to Mars because they have Mars mobiles and these kind of things. I even heard that they are selling tickets. But I want to say at the end of this video that nothing of that will happen in February, unless it is about astral travel. And that's all for now. If you wish, you can schedule personal consultations with me. All of the contacts and also recommended videos you will find under this video on YouTube. Just please, it's important for you to know that I'm not dealing with classical astrology. What I'm doing is astrological psychology and spiritual astrology. And I believe that many of us can realize in many ways, and that everything depends on our level of consciousness and self-awareness. You will find on my web pages, symbolicthinking.net, that I have new service there offered. The name of it is The Change of the Code, The Change of the Perception. It is a method that I have developed while working with clients in recent years with the help of the techniques that I learned and applied before. On my website, I briefly explain how I see these unconscious programs change. If you like the video, like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And thank you very, very much for that, as always. I wish you happiness, health, and joy. I wish you Happy New Chinese Year and every other year that will start now. And see you soon.